This episode is sponsored by the Home Inspector team. It seems like everywhere you look nowadays, you see new homes popping up all over the place like dandelions in the spring. You have to wonder how well those homes are being built with how fast they're building them. That's where the Home Inspector team comes in. With their new construction bundle, you can have every phase of your new construction home professionally inspected to make sure no mistakes are being made. First, they come out before the drywall is installed to make sure the construction and utility rough-ins are done properly, because once they are out of sight, they are out of mind. Before you move in, they ensure everything is functioning properly and provide essential information to help you maintain the home, safeguarding your family and your investment. And finally, just before the builder's warranty expires, they come in to make sure that everything is A-OK, and if it's not, they make sharing your inspection report with the builder a breeze. Scheduling an appointment with the Home Inspector team is super easy. I just did it myself. Just visit their website, thehomeinspector.team, to get an instant quote and to schedule the inspection at a time that works best for you. And don't forget to mention our podcast to receive a special discount. Now back to the show. This episode of Down Home Dirt is brought to you by Zucchini Ink Signs and Design, helping small businesses with their printing marketing materials. You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but first impressions are everything. So let Zucchini Ink help you make a great first impression. If you're interested in supporting the podcast or want to support the podcast and also help grow your own business, head over to our Patreon now and secure your ad space. She has been captivating audiences for years with her wit and charm, straight from the networking floor to give you all the dirt. It's Dusta! Hi, y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with the people who took the plunge and the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta! Welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt. I'm here today with Becca Coburn with Refit Therapy, and we're going to learn all about her business. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. This is my first podcast interview, so this is great.
I'm so excited to be able to share your story. I think I connected with you on Instagram, was it?
Yes. You interviewed a friend of mine, Monica, with Dream Team Dog Training. So she told me to connect with you.
Yes, I love her. Her episode's coming out in a couple weeks, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up and how long have you lived in the Triangle?
So I am born and raised in North Carolina. I'm one of the few left. So I grew up an hour north of here in Oxford, Creedmoor area, and always came to the Raleigh area, to kind of go out, have fun, connect with people. So when my husband and I met and got married, he pretty much grew up in North Carolina too. We decided, hey, we kind of want to live in the Triangle. We like it. So we've hopped from Durham to Clayton and now Garner.
Oh, amazing. I did the Garner to Clayton, and that's where I've stayed.
Oh, there you go.
I thought about Durham. I don't know. I'm looking for a little more terrain sometimes,
Yeah. It was closer to Briar Creek, but it was great because there's such good food in Durham. So we didn't want to leave, but we're glad we headed out this way.
No, I completely understand. My hobby is I want to try all the food that there is to try here because I love eating, first of all, but secondly, I love the different types of foods. It's just something really exciting. Try something new.
Same here.
We'll have to exchange ideas later. So tell me.
I got a list.
You know what? That's good. You're going to have to email that to me. So tell me about your business. What do you do and who's your ideal client?
So I own and operate solo Refit Therapy. I opened last May, so May of 2023, and I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I'm also a certified personal trainer. Long story short, I went to school for massage therapy in 2009, did it for a couple years, didn't really land where I wanted to land, and with the clientele, athletes and active individuals. So I pivoted to the veterinary world for 14 years and had always wanted to get back into massage therapy. And I've always lived an active lifestyle. I've always been an athlete. And I've always loved the human body. So for years, I had wanted to reinstate my massage therapy license and get my CPT. So while I was on maternity leave with our second kid, that's when I did it. My husband was like, there's no better time than now. You have the time, you're home. So got all that set, and I was potentially going to work at like a different office. And my husband, which a lot of people are surprised my husband had this idea, he was like, do your own business. He's like, you know what you're doing. You're smart. You love to connect with people. He's like, you could totally run your own business. So here we are, May of 2023. I do all the research. I find my place. I open my business with a 2.5-year-old and 7-month-old because I'm crazy. But luckily, with the support of him, I was like really able to just go full send. Like I quit my job, like I went all in, no clients, took a really big risk, and I'm really glad I did it. Behind my name it says fitness recovery, but I do really see everybody. When I opened it, it was more geared towards working with like athletes, CrossFitters, people that go to the gym, weekend warriors. But it's kind of evolved into like, I really do see everybody. A big chunk of my clientele are people that work at a desk all day or are in like the permanent makeup business because they're kind of like hunched over all
As
day.
I'm currently
Um,
doing.
Yes, as we, all start sitting up as I say that. But, a third of my clientele is honestly from, shout out to Burn Boot Camp Garner, because that's where I work out. So I see a lot of women who really work hard and put their bodies through a lot, and I help them feel better. So I'm more of like sports massage therapy, kind of like therapeutic. What kind of separates me from like your normal massage therapy office is it is not a spa environment. I'm not playing waterfalls in the background. Like we're listening to like Spotify's top hits, we're talking, or if you don't want to talk, that's fine too. But it's really tailored to like what's going on. So like shoulder mobility, or you're preparing for a marathon. So we're doing lower body work. I use instruments and tools and cups and kinesio tape. So it's a very like relaxed and fun environment. No shame on spas. I love a spa. I've been to Woodhouse, like in Lorena Luca. Like I love those places. But there's a time and a place for it. Not everybody wants a spa visit all the time. They're like, hey, my plantar fasciitis is acting up. Can you help me? And that's where I come in.
That's
So.
absolutely amazing. Like you touched on a little bit, but like let's talk about what your ready moment was that like made you jump into entrepreneurship. I know you mentioned having the baby and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been like a bug that I've had, but being in the veterinary world, it really just kind of sucks you in. And you just kind of never leave just because you connect with that world so much. So once I did during COVID, I got burnt out. Like I was a vet assistant for 14 years, and the last 2 of those years, I managed a vet clinic. And I was just like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. And like I said, I had always kind of had that bug of like, I love being a leader. I'm a smart individual. I like to kind of, go at my own beat. And, working for corporate too is just like not my thing. And then that's when, again, my husband was like, you just need to do your own thing. And it was great too, because that allows me the flexibility to like, if my kids have a picnic at 3 o'clock at their school, like I can block my schedule off and spend time with my kids. I wasn't doing that in the vet world. I was the first one there and last one to leave. I was gone 13, 14 hours a day. And this allows me that flexibility and to like be happy and to enjoy what I'm doing every single day and helping people. So it really is a blessing that I have this opportunity to run my own business and have that flexibility in my
No,
life.
absolutely. And I think that's the reason why probably 99% of us jump into entrepreneurship is because we're wanting to control our own schedule and have our own lives be what we want.
Absolutely.
And I
Yep.
feel like that's probably the number one reason why people do it. They're like, you know what? I don't have time to do what I want to do. And that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, still super busy, but because I don't know what it's like to give myself a day off. Like I had my office is closed, on the weekends and on Thursdays, but I have now segued into training at Burn Boot Camp. So I was like, yep, this is just what I do to myself.
I get it 1,000%. That's like another thing too. It's like I don't want to work for someone else 40 weeks or 40 hours a week. So I'm going to work for myself 24/7. And it's like you don't think about that, but
Yes.
you still if you need to arrange something, you still like make your money, you're still able to do the things and I think that's great. I love that.
Yep. And it is, I mean, not to be cheesy, but you hear this quote all the time where it's like, if you enjoy what you're doing, then you'll never work a day in your life. And when you own your own business and you are truly passionate about what you're doing, it really is true.
Absolutely. And I don't think about it as work anymore. I just like, okay, I'm taking care of a client and then I'm
Yeah.
moving on with life. Like it just becomes about caring. That's how I feel, especially in the service industry. You serve people.
100%.
So we touched a little bit about on how your support system too, but tell me about your support system and who was your biggest supporter and how has having that support helped you practice success?
Um, well, for sure, 100% my husband. He's like my ride or die. um, luckily because of his support, and it's hard financially. We have two kids in daycare. Like that's really expensive. We're blessed that he has a very good job and he was able to support all of us I didn't start paying myself for 18 months. Like we were living off of one income for 18 months. So in June, I actually paid myself for the first time and we celebrated.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I had it in my head like, oh, a year, I'll be able to pay myself before that. But I mean, even though I don't need to buy like a lot of stuff, like it is, there still is upkeep in monthly bills. But so my husband for sure, shout out to him. He took on the stress for both of us. Because I'm just over here like, oh, we'll be fine. And he's like, uh-huh,
Sure. Team
yep.
up.
Sure. And then honestly, my burn boot camp community, they are a third of my clientele. I joined that community about 18 months ago, so long before I opened my business. And as soon as these women found out that this is what I was doing, they were texting me and calling me and knocking on my door for an appointment. And it really truly shows the community that we've built there. And just the support. I mean, and we have like this whole like small business community. Like we have a spreadsheet. Like if you need an accountant, like you can go to that spreadsheet so you can work with someone like within that community. If you need a plumber or a babysitter, a pet sitter, like it's so nice to be a part of that. And they really have helped launch my business and get me to where I am
That's
today.
amazing. It sounds like a great network of people behind you. And I feel
It
like that's something
is.
we definitely
Yeah,
need when we start a business.
it is. I'm very lucky.
Absolutely. I feel you on that. I actually didn't have a network when I started. I literally just moved here and I was like, I didn't know anybody. I was like, I'm going to start a business. Cool. And I'm going to do it. So I found out about networking groups through another business owner that I had worked for in the past. And I was like, well, I'm going to try that out. And that is how I actually built it because I didn't know anybody. I don't have a family here. So I was like, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's so important for a launch for, keeping it up for everything. So
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
that's
And social media too. I mean, who knew like these days when you run a business and like networking and it's like if you're not promoting your business on social media, like you're not going to go anywhere. It's insane to me.
absolutely. We're actually looking into different avenues to start advertising the podcast on. And as somebody told me the other day, Pinterest. And I was like, Pinterest? Believe it or not,
Oh, Pinterest is
Pinterest is a really good
back.
place. So
Okay.
there's a good tip for you too.
Well, there we go. Good to know. Thank
Awesome.
you.
So what are some of the common challenges that entrepreneurs face and like how can you overcome them?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the financial aspect is always going to be a huge thing. Like you have groceries that need to be bought, you have gas that has to be, put in your car. If you have kids, you have to provide for them. So I that's the biggest challenge was especially like with my personality, like not being able to quote unquote like provide for my family financially for 18 months was very hard for me
Mhm.
mentally. I was like, what can I sell around the house so I can like bring some money in? I for the short term, I did actually have to go and get a part-time job. I actually worked back at the hospital that I used to manage on Thursdays just to bring something in. Um, but that honestly was like the biggest challenge. And then second to that is when you start with nothing.
Mhm.
It's not like I was in the massage field for 10 years beforehand and could bring clients in that I've known for a decade. It was, I know no one. I didn't have a single appointment for like 2 weeks after I opened. And you're like, is this really going to work? Like, I know I have something special to offer people and something different. And I know that there's a niche for this, but are other people going to recognize that? So just trusting the process and making sure you can pay your bills is pretty
I
challenging.
will 100% agree. I don't think about risks. I jump in. I have ADHD. And so I took my $1,200 stimulus check, quit my job that same day, and was like, I'm going all in. And I didn't really start making any money, as in getting clients, for 6 months. And so that was really tough.
Yeah.
And then again, I didn't start really bringing in money until a little bit later down because I didn't know how to price. And there was a lot of things I personally didn't know. And I was like, ugh. So I kind of cut my nose off to spite my face, and I'll be like, I'll take anybody. And then it was
Right.
burnout. So that, just wanted to
Yep.
share that. Like it is definitely difficult when you have nothing and you're starting.
But I think that helps create like a really successful business though. Like if you have that type of personality where you're like, I'm going full send on this, like no excuses. It's going to happen. I know I have something special to offer. And here you are with a successful podcast. And here I am with, starting a successful, sports massage therapy business. So I think it really comes in handy having that type of personality instead of being like, oh, I don't know if I should or if I shouldn't. I've had a couple friends where they're like, how did you start? And I said, I just
Yeah.
started. You just have to you just have to
Yeah, I
start.
had a entrepreneur friend tell me that done is better than having a plan and waiting to execute. And I was like, oh, or, like,
I
no, she's
love
like, done
that.
is better than being perfect. That's how it was. And
I
I was
love
like,
that.
oh,
Yes.
okay. So just jump out and do it. I'm with you on that.
Yep.
So speaking of, how do you measure success in your business? Obviously, financial stuff aside, how do you measure success?
Um, I mean, definitely financial, like any business, that's what you want. But um with what I do, having a client come in and either be in pain or have limited mobility or range of motion, like when they come in, and then when they leave saying, I haven't been able to tie my shoes in 2 weeks and now I can, or now I can put my shirt on without pain, or now I can move my neck to the right and left. Like I haven't been able to do this in a couple of days. That to me is success for what I do because that's the whole reason why I opened the business. So when I have people, you know, I don't tell clients, I don't like using the word fix because like we're not fixing anything. Like I don't fix problems. The longer you've had an issue, the longer it's probably going to take to help alleviate those symptoms. But when I have a client saying I feel better than when I first came in, or I haven't had, this is the first time I haven't had back pain in 3 years after having kids, that is successful to me.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that because I've had 3 kids and I can't sit down without being in pain. So I'm going to have to book an appointment.
I was going to say, come see me.
Absolutely. So I like hearing that. I also have lupus, so it's something else that I need to like,
Okay.
have worked out more often than not.
Yep. And massage therapy helps decrease stress, and that can help with lupus symptoms as well.
Absolutely. I need to get on it. I'm not always the best because I sometimes, like most entrepreneurs, put my business before my own health, and that got me in
Yeah.
trouble. So we'll talk about that later. But where do you see yourself in the future with your business? Like, how are you wanting it to grow, and what do you think?
So, my 5-year plan is having like a wellness facility, like, and I know that's like very broad, but I have like a specific idea in mind. And it's funny because I had this plan since I opened, and I have actually connected with a few people on Instagram and some more massage therapists. And you kind of see how they run business and you connect and you're like DMing each other and learning different things. And that's where I really like social media. But essentially having a facility where people of different backgrounds and occupations that deal with wellness and recovery can kind of work cohesively. So if you have a client that needs a massage therapist, we're here. If you have a client that needs like a chiropractor or PT, we're under the same roof. Dietitian, um, sauna, cold plunge, all those like yummy recovery services, like all under one roof. But essentially they still get to practice as their own business. There's a massage therapist out in Minnesota that I've connected with, and I really enjoy chatting with her. And she works with the Minnesota Vikings, and she has this successful business. And she has a similar facility. And so, in my mind, when I first had this idea, I was like, I want people to work under Refit Therapy. Like, I'll be their boss, and manage people. I've done it before. And I was chatting with her, and she was like, don't do that. She was like, still have them operate as like their own independent business, and just work around that as far as like how you work out the financial stuff. And I was like, that's even better, because then they get to still kind of live out their dream like I am, and still run their own business. And then, but we still just get to help each other out and refer, clients back and forth. And then that way too, I've never been one to be like, all you need to do is see me. I can, fix all your issues. You don't need to see any other practitioner. No, I love it when clients have to see a chiropractor. I like it when they need PT. I have referred clients to PT. I'm like, your needs are beyond my scope and what I can do. I need you to go see a doctor, get an MRI, and then go see a PT. But I like that cohesive teamwork. Clients really like the fact that they can just go to one place and get everything they need. So that's my 5-year
That's an
plan.
amazing plan, and I really like it. That's great because, again, you're right. Everybody needs a place, and to be able to refer out, that's even better. Always love having referral
Exactly.
partners. It's my favorite. That's why I do this. I love networking. So,
Yay.
speaking of networking, what is your main marketing strategy right now?
Um, Instagram and word of mouth. When I right before I opened, I had like a really small budget for like meta ads, so Facebook and Instagram. And, I got clicks, but I saw nothing from it. And, I don't know a lot about that, like about paid ads and marketing. So I just kind of, threw a couple $100 at it and was like, let's see what sticks. Um, and then 2 weeks before my office opened, I pounded the pavement to every gym, yoga studio, and apartment complex within a 2.5 mile radius of my studio. And I went there in person and introduced myself. And I maybe got a couple clients from that. But you don't know, when you open a business. But since then, there's a lot of growing, a lot of learning when it comes to marketing. But I do not pay anything in marketing. I do Instagram, I do the reels and the posts, and it's word of mouth and referrals, because I feel like more like it's just like getting your hair done. Like if your friend really likes their hairstylist or your friend really likes their massage therapist, you're going to trust your friend over seeing like an ad on
A
Facebook, I feel
hundred and
like.
10% true because I am all about referrals. I want to know someone else
Yeah.
experienced it before I go just blindly walking in there.
Exactly. Yep. So I do $0 in
That's
marketing.
amazing. I do not pay for any marketing myself. The only marketing I ever paid for was when I joined a networking group that one time. And I fortunately have not been able to go back to networking group because they set me up so well. And this was 2 years ago. Oh, wow. 3 years ago, February. I am
Awesome.
just so excited. I'm going to be in business 5 years in February.
Yay! That's
Whoa,
awesome.
that happened. Flies by.
It does fly by.
So that's really great. And I love seeing I didn't know you didn't have a marketing company. I'm going to be honest. I thought that you did. You have great reels, great marketing.
Thank you. Yep, a tripod, Canva, and CapCut. That's
Nice.
yeah, CapCut is amazing for video editing, and Canva is totally worth like the $120 a year for the membership.
Absolutely.
or
Those are the
subscription.
ones I use as well, and I think they're great. And I found those just by looking at someone else's marketing, and they had the little watermark on it, and I went, done.
Yep,
So
same.
I love sharing that information. So changing gears a little bit, like what advice was most impactful to help you make the leap into entrepreneurship?
Um, I think the faith my husband had in me, I think he had more faith than I did. But again, I think it was just like that drive to just be my own boss. I think I did believe in myself. It's not like I wasn't confident at all. But once I got like that validation of like, okay, I'm confident in myself. I'm pretty sure I know that I can do this. But I guess once I got that validation from like my husband and my family, I was like, okay, let's do it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start looking. I'm going to start going online. What licenses do I need for, because I always knew I wanted to be downtown Raleigh. So I was like, let's go on LoopNet. Let's find a business office. What do I need to do online? So yeah, I think it was just having other people believe in me kind of like made me comfortable taking it to the next step and being like, okay, I really can do this.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that because I when I first started mine, I started my business so that I could leave a domestic violence marriage, and my whole thought process was like I need to make money quick. I need to be able to take care of 3 children, and I need to get him out of my house, and I need to be able to take on all of that,
Right.
right? While also, being a mom and all the fun stuff. So that's why I think I jumped into it as well, just because I was like, no, I have all of this. And my daughter actually came to me and was like, here's the deal, ma'am, get rid of that now. She said, she cornered
Yeah.
me in the hallway and she was like, if you don't make that go
Ma'am.
away, ma'am. I was
I like her.
like, she said, I will help you run this entire operation. She was 14 years old.
Oh my
I know. And
gosh.
so she's going to be 18 soon, and she is starting her own photography business. She is
Oh, I love
like, I'm
that.
so happy for her, but it just took, I guess, one person being like, "Hey, we can do this together. Let's do it," for me. And
Right. Especially when it comes from your kid, I feel like that's like even more special because you're like, you're the human I grew and like you really believe in me. Like that's
I
amazing.
probably listen to her more than I do any adult, and she's very intelligent, and she can pick up things faster than I can because I don't know. I made that. I don't know how I did it, but I made her, you know?
That's
And I'm just
incredible.
like, wow. So sorry, I'm gonna get a little crying here, but I'm gonna
Oh no, that's
I
okay.
love her to death, and I'm so glad that I was able to show her like all of the ins and outs of being an entrepreneur. And she honestly, she tells me I couldn't possibly work for someone else, and I'm like, you're welcome.
Here we go. Yep. Well, and that's the hope that, that I have two boys. And, when I have to like run to the office and like grab something and it's the weekend and my kids are home and I'm like, my oldest is 3.5. And I'm like, hey, bud, you want to come to my office? And he's excited to come with me. And like, I don't think at 3.5, he quite knows what it's like to be an entrepreneur, own your own business. But the fact that I can take my son and as he gets older, he can see that his mom has her own business. All he cares about is the mints that I have there. So we'll have to pivot that. But yeah, it is really nice that it's like, I can show my kids what a strong woman looks like. And that if you want to own your own business or create your own business, like it's absolutely possible.
Yes, and I love that you do that because it's the same thing. I have a 9-year-old as well, and she gets a different version of me than obviously my almost 18-year-old, you know. And
Right.
I love being able to show, and she'll make comments all the time. My older one, she'll be like, "Yeah, she doesn't get the same mom I had." And I'm like, yes, she like knows that mommy's got a business and she's important or whatever, like little kids think. And I think it's great. Tell everybody where they can find
Sure.
you. What's your website, your address, downtown Raleigh?
So Refit Therapy. I am located in downtown Raleigh, 703 West Johnson Street. It is a 3-story building, so I'm on like the very bottom. And website is refittherapy.com. Social media, as far as like Facebook and Instagram, is Refit Therapy. That's my handle, so it's super easy. And yeah, I'm always, if you have questions or if you want to make an appointment, that can either be done online or you can DM me. Like I'm happy. I'm very extrovert. So if people want to chat, I love to chat. So
Absolutely. I love that. And I will share all of those links with your episode. And I just want to thank you for taking
perfect.
time out of your day today to meet with me. So thank you and join us again next week for another amazing episode of Down Home Dirt.